about the haircuts and whatnot.
What's up, everybody? This is a little bit unconventional, so we're just working out the kinks at the same time. But this is Matt DeMarinis from White and Blue Review, sitting here with who you can see, Marcus Zegarowski and Mitch Ballock. I still say your name like that. I'm not gonna stop. Sorry, bro.
Okay.
But yeah, we're gonna give you guys a little walk back on the season and let Marcus and Mitch kind of take you inside some of the high points, some of the low points, and hopefully give you guys something fun and enjoyable to listen to during #quarantine life. So, Marcus, first of all, I think let's start age before beauty. Should we start with Mitchell? Let's start with Mitchell. Age before beauty is the rule, right?
Yeah, but if this isn't anything good for people to listen to, do we scrap it or what?
Yeah, we'll just erase it. I'll be like, that was
terrible,
boys. Let's reschedule. First of all, the beard's going. I was expecting the beard. I don't know what I was expecting the beard situation to look like, but that's not bad.
Yeah, beard is crazy. I honestly thought about going clean shaven, but I didn't want to look 12 when I got on this interview, so I kept the beard, and it's just growing.
Looks good though. You look like you're keeping it well groomed and everything, not just letting it go.
Nah, trying to. I shape it up down here because my neck's crazy, but then everything else grows pretty good. So just ride it out, man.
Yeah. How's the family and everybody doing at home?
Family's doing well. I'm actually up in Omaha right now. But yeah, family's doing well. Mom and dad kind of doing the same thing they've been doing. My dad's still working. He drives a truck, so nothing changed for him. And then brothers and sisters are all doing well. My niece and nephew are just running around and doing all that. So it's good. Everything's good my way. Good
to hear. Marcus, man, how's how are mom and dad, bro and sis, and everybody doing?
It was doing good. I was home for like a month and some change, but now I'm actually in Omaha right now getting rehab. So I've been by myself for the past about 6 days. So it's pretty boring, but I kind of had to do it. It's the only thing open. But family's doing good for real.
Yeah. So you Max had the same surgery as you a year later. Was that like a twin thing? Did you guys not just give each other a full hip or something at birth and then it caught up to you later in life? What happened?
It's a family thing. My brother, Michael had it. My mom has a hip problem, but she's like, why would I get the surgery? There's no point. And then me and Max, we've had it for a while. We both had kind of the same injury. It's basically the same, except he didn't get the core surgery that me and Mitch got. But he tore his labrum and he also had a bone spur just like I did. And so he's been rehabbing at home. It's a little bit different than my rehab. So, but he's doing well.
Matt, Marcus said it's a family thing. That's why I had it too. If you didn't know, we're kind of related.
I was like, I don't know how you drew Mitch into that one, but I guess you guys are.
Yeah, distant brothers.
No, because I had the core surgery too.
Yeah.
It's like the lower abdominal thing that you have the scars. You know what I'm talking about, Mitch?
No,
yeah.
Marcus, I know what you had, bro. I know.
Yeah, I'm just trying to lighten the mood with Matt too.
Yeah, Marcus and I both had the same surgery, but then he also had the hip deal.
Yeah, and the hip thing is the family thing, not the core.
The hip thing is the family thing, but the other thing is just the Marcus me Jet thing. So it's a
Mitch's
extended family thing.
Mitch's description of that injury is rated R. We're not going to say it even on this podcast. So it's too bad for podcasts. So, I remember the way you first described that. And I was like, I don't think I can quote that, man. But okay. You remember what you said?
I was just trying to dumb it down.
I know. No, yeah, you definitely did. I was like, okay, I get that. Marcus, how's the knee doing? How's the rehab life going and everything?
He's doing really well. I feel like I'm making some really good strides since I came up here. I think I'm ahead of schedule. I've been walking fine. It's doing a lot. It's doing really well.
You always think you're ahead of schedule though, because you just want to hoop.
I guess.
Yeah, Marcus, don't get too ahead of schedule, man.
No, trust me, it's doing well. I feel, I don't. Obviously, it's not going to be back until about 2-3 months. But what I've been doing, I've been doing a lot of strength stuff, and our trainer Ben is really, is happy with where I'm at right now.
Good to hear. So I just want to jump into the season itself, and I don't know. I think there were times, I think, early in practice where I definitely saw just flashes of you guys going to a different level. It was like there'd be, stretches of possessions in 5-on-5 where the ball moved like at light speed, it felt like, and you guys all were, you, Mitch, and Ty especially were all on the same page and everything. And it just felt like it just looked different from the year before in terms of chemistry and continuity. And I wonder, was there a point at that, early in the season, even maybe before the game started, where you guys could sense that there was something more here that you guys could like level up as a group?
Marcus, you got it.
I kind of thought, in the fall, before we even started practice, we were playing pickup, and I think we just like playing with each other. And that first year together, I thought we really gained that experience. I think we really kind of gelled, in that year. And now that in our second year, I think we just really love playing with each other. And then once the season started really getting going, playing in the games, I thought there were some early games where we really got going, and we just built on it, throughout the whole year into conference. So go ahead, Mitch.
No, you can go. You can finish.
No, I was basically just saying, I just like once you love playing with each other, everything else takes care of itself. So once you stop worrying about your individual kind of stuff, that stuff will come once you start, being unselfish with each other. And I feel like that's what we did.
Yeah, my deal was over the summer, obviously we didn't have Marcus, and even into the fall, we were playing without him. So obviously I was kind of a different player. Like I was doing stuff uncharacteristic. Like when we were in Australia, I had the ball in my hand a little more. And then when Marcus got back, then it kind of made everything easier, if that makes any sense, because then I could then I'm off the ball more and Marcus does his thing. Obviously, I'd say 99.9% of people would say Marcus is better with the ball than I am. But but when he gets downhill, we can play off each other's strengths. So like if I can catch and shoot and then Marcus get downhill, it opens him up, get into the paint. So then when we in the fall, like before we started actually playing games, Marcus really just took the pressure off of everybody, because then we had that ball handler that could get to anywhere on the floor, but also had a pass first mentality, and then always get a bucket later, So it was nice. It made everything easier when Marcus got back.
Did you guys
playing without him also helped us grow?
Hello, you still there?
Yeah.
Sorry, my internet sucks. You're freezing a little bit. I just wondered, did you guys have any conversations, the three of you, that you felt like, it's different, I guess, playing on the court and doing it that way and playing with each other, but not everything always goes right on the court, you know what I'm saying? Like, there has to be points where the three of you are pretty connected from a leadership standpoint so the rest of the group can follow. What was the evolution of that in terms of your guys' relationship in being able to say what needs to be said in moments where things are getting difficult and being comfortable with it, not really taking it personally, I guess? Mitchell, you can lead off. Sorry.
We were, I don't know, afraid to step on each other's toes and like afraid to like call each other out. But then I would really attest like bringing Jack, Doc, and Danny into it. They kind of just showed us how to do it and how to approach it and how to keep that relationship, but also grow as a unit. And that really helped us at all points of the year. Then when we started working with those guys, it kind of gave us ways to talk to each other and really grow instead of not necessarily call each other out, but call each other out, because at the end of the day, we're all competitive. We're all trying to achieve the same thing. We're all trying to win games, and you just have to figure out the approach because everybody's different. Marcus is different than Ty, is different from Dame. So you have to understand how to go at guys. But if the three of us are connected, then you can get the rest of us connected. But if the three of us are all strung out and not on a string, then the other guys don't have anything to follow. So we really talked a lot with them about those leadership qualities, and then we just slowly developed them throughout the year. And then at the end of the season, obviously we were at a high level leadership wise, and like Marcus said, we were just having fun with one another and listening to one another. So it was a thing of beauty at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I can piggyback off what he said. Having Zach, Dog, and Danny with us, they were just, always giving us little pointers, here and there. Not only with basketball, but like with leadership. So they were awesome. And then I thought me, Mitch, and Todd, we really, a few times, but the time we met, was it after Villanova, the first game, Mitch?
No, it was after.
It was after a lot.
Was it after Nova?
That doesn't matter. It was after I think we lost, and then we met together for like an hour or two, and we just talked about what we need to do differently, and like what we need to do more. That's when I started to see our voices really be heard, not only in the games but in practice.
It was after Georgetown.
It was after Georgetown, yeah.
Because then we talked, and after we talked for a while, we were like, yo, we could really finish the Big East 13-5. Like what are we, something 3.
You said 14-4.
14-4.
Yeah.
But then we ended 13-5. So I was like, Marcus, real life, like if we play the way we're supposed to play, we could be 14-4. And then obviously we had that slip up with Providence. But everything else, it's going to happen. The Big East it's a gauntlet. So you're going to slip up every once in a while because teams are so skilled and talented. So that was really the turning point, honestly, was that Georgetown game, because we lost a game we shouldn't have when we were on the road. We felt like we shouldn't have. We felt like we were the better team. So when we let that slip, we were like, all right, we're obviously not playing to our potential. So let's figure something out.
I'm glad you guys brought up turning points, because that after the Georgetown game is one that I think everybody's going to kind of look at for sure. But I think there were several in the season where you guys, leveled up, like where you maybe convinced yourselves, hey, okay, we can be a good team. All right, we can be NCAA tournament good. Okay, we can win the Big East. Like I think there were moments in the year where you guys where you did something that convinced you guys that more was capable. You guys could achieve more. I think starting with the non-con, because you guys lost Jacob, Davion in before the season even started, and you obviously knew you weren't going to have Denzel for the first 10 games. Like when you went into those first 6 and took the beating from San Diego State, like I know your focus was there for Texas Tech, but where was your confidence in the group? Because I can't imagine you're coming back on the floor the day after a 30-point loss feeling super confident about what's going on. Like where was the confidence at that point?
My confidence was in Mr. Zegarowski, so I'll let him take it.
I got to give credit to Coach Mack for that, because I remember versus San Diego State. It was like the 8-minute timeout. We were all the starters were subbed out, and Coach brought us the whole team in. He was like, obviously this game didn't go how we wanted to go, but this whole season will determine how we bounce back the next game. And he just finds a way to calm us down in the biggest storms, if that makes any sense. And I thought that really helped us get over the San Diego State game. And then I thought as a group collectively, we just worried about, winning that next game and not going 0-2 in that tournament. And, obviously thought that was a turning point because Texas Tech was a great team. And, I thought we really, played really well that game.
Were you guys good? Like, how did you guys not let it get on tilt when they erased the lead and got it to overtime? Like, did your confidence waver at all? I mean, were you like, man, we just kind of blew this one, or what was going on maybe right before overtime started? Because you guys owned the overtime period, so it's not like there wasn't any adversity to deal with there. But up to that point, it kind of felt like Texas Tech was taking the game over. Did you guys feel like you were losing the grip a little bit, or what happened?
Number 11 was on my side, so I just gave him the rock.
He just got him Marcus's way.
I just gave him the rock.
Honestly, I thought be honest, I thought we just had really a calm to our team that game. I thought that was the first game, ever since I've been at Creighton where, when stuff's flying back, everywhere, I thought we were really calm. And I thought, that was what Mitch brought to the team, like the rest of the year. Every time something hit us, it was real calm. He was real calm. He just knew how to calm us down on the floor, and that really helped us. And I remember versus like an example of this was at Villanova. And I threw the ball at Mitch, and he wasn't looking. Like that was all my fault. Like I shouldn't have done that. And I was like really mad at myself. And then he came over. It's on the game. He calmed me down. He's like, bro, next play.
I think he was just glad you didn't take his.
I'm just how I get when I make a mistake, and I was just pissed at myself. And so just stuff like that. I thought that
he was probably just happy he didn't actually get hit in the face with the ball.
Yeah. No, it was crazy. Like what Marcus is talking about in the years past, when teams would hit us with runs, we would just fold. Like that avalanche. That avalanche would come down. We never knew how to control it. And half of it, or 3/4 of it, was all internal and everything that we could kind of control, like our emotions and the way we reacted to adversity and all that. So when everything hit, we would fold. We weren't mentally tough enough to finish games, and our lack of mental detail turned into like physical turnovers and just being in wrong spots and bad positions. But then when we became aware of it and like, hey, we've been playing like this for 36 minutes. Why play some other way the last 4? Like, why tighten up and not play the way we usually play or the way we played the first 36? So we really got to play in that last 4 like we did the first 36, because at the end of the day, like you talked about, like the confidence level in Vegas. I mean, we had nothing to lose. We just got beat by 30. And when we play like we have nothing to lose and we're playing loose and we're playing with that freedom that Coach Matt gives us, and like everybody's playing at a high level from a confidence standpoint, I mean, it's unmatched to when we're playing like really tight and like that last 4 minutes we're tightening up and we're doing uncharacteristic things. So I think we did a really good job, like Marcus said, just getting over that and kind of just playing the way we played for 40 minutes instead of the first 36.
Mm-hmm. That game. That went OT, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You talking about Tech?
Yeah, that was OT, right?
Yeah. And again, when you got a bucket on the floor, you just give him the rock.
Yeah, that was Marcus's first 30 spot, I think.
That was light work. I mean, that was light work.
He had Davide Moretti chasing ghosts or whatever, as they say.
Yeah, once you see this Jordan documentary, you'll understand. Just when someone's hot, give them the rock.
Facts. The other one, though, I think this is the one that's going to be like long lasting in terms of what everybody remembers as like why Creighton won the Big East. And it's kind of funny because had you guys lost, like that's how close the race was. You wouldn't have made it happen. But that Providence game where I can't even tell you the laundry list of things that were going wrong for you. Like Marcus was out of it, Ty was hurt, Kelvin was hobbled, David Duke is going off. Like it just felt like there were all of the factors that were going to determine who won this game were not in Creighton's favor, and yet somehow you guys pulled it out. And I just wonder what did it take down the stretch, for Ty to, just kind of forget the knee for a minute, and then Marcus obviously to just clear your head enough to make that shot over Pipkins and give you guys a lead, like that those plays down the stretch that you guys made.
Hold up, can we get to the plays down the stretch after a couple inside things on the start of the game?
Yeah, absolutely.
This dude, I remember talking to you when we were in warm-ups. You're like, where's Marcus? I was like,
where's Marcus at? You're like, he's done, dude.
I was like, he's done. He's not playing. I said this at like the 30-minute mark in warm-ups.
You really did.
So then we go back before the game, and Marcus is in there like just dazed, like he didn't know where he was at. And I'm like, oh crap, he really might be done. So then we came out like the 4-minute mark, and I saw you again, and I was just like, no, he's not going. But then Marcus finally came out. I remember when Marcus got in the game, his eyes, I mean,
time out real quick. I can tell this story a lot better because you're leaving out details. You're leaving out details of your prankster skills like that. I think people need to hear about. first, you guys are all warming up or whatever, and it's not like normally a big deal when you guys all don't come out together because some of you guys need like extra tape and all that kind of stuff. So I don't usually like raise my eyebrow at it, but it was getting to the point where it's like it was kind of surprising when Marcus wasn't on the floor yet, and Mitch was just chilling by the scorer's table while everybody was shooting. It's like, where's Marcus at? And he goes, oh, he broke his ankle trying to dunk in the layup line. He's done.
I knocked on wood.
Yeah,
I knocked on wood, bro.
Yeah, he broke his ankle trying to dunk. He's done. He's out. And I was like, what are you talking about, man? He's like, no, serious. So he tried to play it like that was real. And so like I'm sitting there and they go back into the tunnel for the last time, and I'm like thinking, he's not serious. Like that didn't just happen. And then
I played it well.
I know he did play it well. Then he really comes out. He comes out for the last time and he walks straight up to me. He goes, hey, I was just kidding about the ankle, but he's seriously like, I don't know if he's gonna play. He's not feeling right. And like, so I think he felt bad. He was like, his prank actually like led to something. He was like, because you could see there was some guilt on his face. It's like, hey, for real though, he might not play.
Yeah, I was a little nervous. But then when we started, Marcus checks in. He didn't start that game, I don't think, and he came in at like I don't know what time he came in, but he comes in. This dude comes off a ball screen. I mean, looked terrible.
He did.
Tried to thread a pocket pass, threw it off a guy's leg. I was like, this might be a long night. It happened for like 3 straight possessions. Marcus was doing some crazy stuff, and I was like, what is going on? I was like, Mac, move me to the one or something. Like, this is crazy. So, and then I saw Marcus in the huddle so mad because he couldn't control himself. Like, he didn't know what he was doing, but he thought he could. Like, his mind was trying to do one thing and his body was doing the other, and it was, like, not working. And it was so, like, at the time of the game, I was dying. Like, it was so funny. And Marcus was so mad because he couldn't control himself. But then, yeah, Marcus, you can get going into the second half, though.
Yeah, I remember, Marcus, you said I don't know. I don't think you said it right after the game, but you said it like maybe a day or two later or whatever. You're like, because I said, yeah, you hit that shot, and it looked like Cooley wanted to fight you because you were doing the Billy strut in front of him. And Cooley was like pointing at the ref at you, like trying to get you teed up or whatever. And I was like, it looked like Cooley wanted to fight you. And he's like, you were like, the way I was playing, Mac wanted to fight me too. Like, how did you get yourself together? How did you get yourself together in that game? Like, how did you convince Mac to even let you stay in with the way it was going?
I don't know why he let me stay in, to be honest. I don't know. That last play, it was probably the only good thing I did all game. I just said, whatever happens, if I miss it, it's probably the best thing that's going to happen to me all game, even if I missed it, because I was so bad at that game. So it was kind of like a whatever attitude and just shot it. But yeah, that game, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I tried to wipe from my memory, the first 39 minutes and 50 seconds of that game.
No,
take me through the read though, because I think you were trying to get the ball to tie at first because he was hot.
Yeah,
but they kind of like face guarded him and whatever, and you kind of had to make a read whether to try to force it to him or make a play. Like what was going through your mind, and how did you decide so quickly to just raise up and shoot it?
I mean, right before the play happened, I said, "Ty, go get it. Like, go win the game for us." And then they obviously denied him, and I went to go get it. And the play it's called coaches does this, and whoever comes up and sets like a butt screen. It was Mitch that time, and dude just backed up crazy. So I was like,
was it me?
Shoot. Yeah, it was you.
I don't remember. All right.
Yeah, you were in it because I remember like you went for a rebound and then it went in. You like ran back, like you were like even with me.
They were teed up.
Yeah, you just backed up and I just shot it.
We did back up, and when you're Marcus is a good 5'11", but Pip's still a little smaller than him, so he could get the shot over him.
Yeah.
But all jokes aside, the baseline pull up was tough from Ty to get us to that point.
Oh yeah.
And then I remember after the game, this is just another little tidbit. We're in the locker room, and I was yelling at Marcus. I'm like, Marcus, you're so tough. Just telling him. And he's like, bro, we weren't going to lose if I shot it. The only thing that could have happened is we're going to overtime or we're winning the game. So it's like, honestly, it wasn't that big of a shot. He's like, if we were down 1, yeah, it would have been crazy. But I was like, no, Marcus, you're tough.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, Marcus trying to downplay it, but he just gamed them. So
like 7 turnovers. Probably mad missed assignments on defense. But
It's okay.
I really never experienced I don't know what happened.
I still haven't seen you have a game where you turned the ball over the way you turned. It's not like just that you had 6 turnovers, it's the way you turned the ball over. It was like, what is, it didn't feel like that was Marcus out there.
Yeah, they were literally like blatant.
I mean, they were terrible turnovers. Like, it looked like Marcus never played basketball before. It was crazy. And I was just sitting over there just sprinting back on defense, like, all right, bro, again?
See?
Like, again? This is crazy. Jet, what's up, man? Read somebody, man.
Mitch is like telling Marcus next possession and looking over at the bench going, yo, somebody.
Yo, Mac, we need to do something about this. It was crazy.
I remember I got subbed that I'm like, I apologize to the assistants. I'm like, I'm so sorry for this. Hush was like, you're good. Just get your rest and try to help win the game. I was like,
no, but that was a huge game.
Yeah,
it was a huge game, Matt. You're right.
Yeah, it kept you guys out of. I think had you lost that's 2-4, and that's a pretty big hurdle to clear. At that point, you're probably just trying to maybe avoid Wednesday or the play-in day. You know what I'm saying? So it felt like it put you guys I don't know, back into the mix with the pack. And then that Villanova game on the road was where you probably thought, okay, we can kind of compete for the league title here because you're 1-1 with Nova and you're right there at the top of the standings, trying to chase down Seton Hall. Like, did you guys go into that Nova game thinking it gives you guys a chance to play for, to at least compete for the league title, or were you just trying to get one back at that point?
Personally, we were – I don't know what other guys were thinking, but, I mean, the message that we tried to convey was we honestly didn't care about the Big East title at that point. Like, we didn't care about winning the Big East. We knew we gave away one at home. Like, I mean, honestly, should have been a series swept, and we led that game, the whole game, and then, again, we let it slip. And then that was honestly a turning point too, because we had a lot of losses like that the year before, so we were just trying to get over that hump. And then that Nova game really helped us for the rest of the year. We would have won it playing bad basketball at the end of the game. You know what I mean? Like, we weren't playing the way we usually play. Like, we can live with losses when we go down playing the way we play. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. In that Nova game, we did not play the last 4 minutes like we did the rest of the year. So then we addressed that. We talked to everybody. We figured it out. And then when we went to their place, I mean, obviously we executed at a high level at their place, and everybody was making shots, and Denzel was doing his thing, Marcus was doing his thing. Like, it was good. Like, everything was working out. So then down the stretch, we kept making shots. And then when stuff like that happens, it's easier, but even when you're missing shots and you get good looks, then you can kind of live with it. So that was my take on that game. And that was more of redemption. Like, we wanted to pay back for that one because we knew we let one slip.
Was that Marcus, was there a lot of, I guess, when you think about what you guys have talked about in terms of, not folding when someone starts to get some rhythm and starts to punch, starts to score a little bit. Nova, you guys played awesome in the first half, but they kind of got at you guys in the second half and cut the lead down. And it felt like every time they did that, you had an answer. You had a run that put them back, behind the 8 ball. Did you guys feel like that was a growing up point, that Nova game on the road? Because, they did come back at you. They did start to play like they normally play, but it didn't matter because you guys were able to put another cushion in between you guys and them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like after that first game around where we let it slip, I remember talking about it. I mean, we're honestly better than them. Like that's just how I felt. I don't know how everyone I knew everyone else thought we were better than them. We just let it slip. So going into Villanova, I thought we had lots of confidence and but also a chip on our shoulder because we let it slip. And then that second half, yeah, they were going on a run, but I still think we kind of controlled that whole game, and just knowing that, and knowing how just how confident we were that game, we weren't really worried. I remember Colin started getting going, but I knew Ty was feeling himself, Mitch was hot, and once they get going, it's really tough to beat us.
Mitch, I'm glad you brought up Denzel because that was kind of like the first game where it felt like that whole group was really in sync with each other. I mean, there were moments in that game where it felt like you guys were unguardable at some stretches, like with the way you guys were playing. Did you feel like that was maybe one of the first examples of a game situation where you felt like no matter what lineup you guys put on the floor, the ones that you were using had a capability of going to a point where it didn't matter what the defense was doing?
Yeah, for sure. That was definitely that was a big, not a big game, like a game that really showed that we could, like how I don't know, just how many different ways we could throw punches at somebody, like on how many ways we made it difficult for defenses to guard us, because I think we moved Denzel to the 5 at possessions that game with Dame at the 4 and me at the 3, tied the 2, Marcus at the 1. And when we had that lineup, we were really efficient.
Mm-hmm.
And just because you have Denzel, obviously somebody on the court has a mismatch. And a lot of times it's Dame and Denzel. And then later in the season, they started guarding them differently. So then Dame had all the space in the world. So then he started making shots, and then he was getting downhill. And it just opened up the rest of the floor for the rest of us. But when you have Denzel who can get to the rim, I think it should have been an M1, but he got to the paint and he pump faked and scored. And then that kind of got us back to going and kind of got our rhythm and momentum back. So I'd say that was definitely one of the games that really was a turning point for the 5 of us playing together, or like the lineups really gelling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess Marcus, went from a point guard standpoint, when you guys see how small you are on the floor, knowing that, normally in the Big East, like I don't think teams have tried that before, like a 5 guard. I think Villanova's gone, 5 out, but they really haven't they've had big dudes, you know what I mean? They've had post players. Like it felt like you guys were 5 guards on the floor. Like when did that thing to you feel like this could be a weapon that nobody in the league possesses, and it could be really effective?
Yeah, that just having those 5 guards out on the floor, I think it makes teams kind of, try to adapt to us. You saw when Seton Hall did it, the first game, the second game, no, the first game at their place, they kind of try to adapt to us, and I just thought, we, just because we were small in that lineup, I think we play bigger than, than we actually are. Denzel's a really strong guy, he can guard, a 5-man if he has to. Damien's a really strong guy. Mitch has been guarding forwards his whole career at Green, so like it doesn't matter, who he's guard, like he'll guard whoever.
I'm gonna be 205 next year, so just wait on it.
Exactly. So like, and then on the offensive end, I don't know a defensive scheme that can kind of keep up, with that lineup. We have everyone is capable of making a 3-point shot. Everyone's capable of driving, driving and making a play for somebody else, driving to score. I just think, it's just so hard to guard. Like you can't play a traditional lineup versus that lineup and expect to be successful.
Yeah. Also, I think the main reason, like, I'm not trying to gas Denzel up at all, but Denzel, I don't think you can do that offensively and defensively without a guy like Denzel.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you try and do that with 5 guards, you're still going to be taken advantage of on the defensive end. You know what I mean? But Denzel, like, is strong. Like, that dude is strong. And I'm sure every 5-man in the Big East would tell you how strong that dude is, just because, like, no one could really have their way with him.
Mm-hmm.
And even though he's giving up height. And then vice versa on the offensive end, you have a guy that can shoot the ball. You have a guy that can get downhill. And then at that time of the year, he was playing really, really good basketball, and he was playing within the offense. So he wasn't really he wasn't forcing 17-footers like he was at Arizona State. He wasn't doing that stuff. He was over that. He bought into the system. So once he did that, then it gave us different variations to our offense and to our defense that we could really take advantage of. The teams really couldn't do anything against it. So then, like Marcus said, they had to adjust. They had to try and go 5 guards. But then if you have 5 guards, someone still can't guard Denzel. So it always presented a problem for other teams, and I think that's why we were really successful, because we had a guy that like Denzel that could really exploit that position.
Mm-hmm. That Seton Hall game, I think, was another one for another reason that people started to take notice. Obviously, the win was big because you had beaten the hottest team in the league on the road. But also Ty locked up Miles Powell again, for the first time, so that kind of gave him Powell and Howard in terms of guys he had shut down. And I think that's when people started to notice a little bit that his defense had really gone to a new level, and it wasn't just a one-off; it was pretty consistent. But just how important was that to have a stopper, a guy that can chase guys through screens and use his length and his anticipation skills to be able to shut down some of the top scorers in the conference. That way, it wasn't like you guys were trading buckets because you guys had someone who could bother their top scorer like that. Hello, you guys froze.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I thought those 4 games, really, highlighted it was versus Marcus Howard, Miles Powell, but he did that all year, versus guys that you may not know much about. But yeah, he was awesome. It was really good to have someone that's really really dialed in, especially on trying to stop their best player, and having him and him being able to bring it on the offensive end too was huge. So yeah, big credit to Tyshawn on doing that all year for sure.
Yeah, might just add a little bit to it. We had like bringing P. Les to our like scouting team and defensive. I mean, he's a defensive guru. When he brought that basketball mind to our team, it really put us in good situations on the defensive end, because obviously when you have a guy like Tyshawn who can guard on the perimeter and chase those guys, then you kind of, I mean, you have to take, when you're playing guys like Miles Powell, Marcus Howard, you have to give them some things, and you have to give up some other things to other people. And Coach Les does an unbelievable job at realizing that, and he put us in positions for us to take away what the best player was trying to do and maybe live with some other things that other guys were trying to do. And when you have a guy like Tyshawn that can guard from 23 feet and out, just force him to the rim. I mean, we have 5 guys on the string connected on the defensive end that can kind of help when he gets beat or when guys get downhill. And then honestly, just when we did that, when we had those schemes and we executed those schemes, we were really successful. So credit to Tyshawn and P. Les, because P. Les was, I mean, off the charts. That dude is high level.
I'm glad you brought that up, because it is kind of like you're taking a gamble at some point with leaving guys. I think only St. John's was really the team that made you pay for it, in terms of who you guys identified in the scout to leave and focus on others. Like how much buy-in did you guys have in that right away when he was like, all right, we're going to leave this guy open, this guy open, this guy open, and you're probably thinking, I mean, these are D1 basketball players. We're just not going to guard them. But I mean, the system kind of worked. Like it kept leading to bad shooters shooting their teams out of games. Like you turned bad shooters into volume shooters, and you turned volume shooters into like frustrated scorers. Like when did you guys start to buy into that system? What point in the season did you believe that it was something that you guys could do for an entire year?
You want me to take it, Marcus?
Yeah, bro.
All right. I think we started to buy into it at the end of last year, to be honest. Obviously, when P. Les is bringing in new stuff, it's an adjustment. It's a learning period. And we also didn't have, like, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't in on the defense. Like, I was there. I was trying to work hard, but I wasn't fully there on the defensive end. I would probably say Ty wasn't, because he was capable of doing so. I'd probably say, I mean, Dame wasn't healthy to do it. Marcus couldn't move. So it was like we had a good plan. We just didn't execute it because we weren't really at that level of, I don't know, for lack of a better term, we didn't have that level of dog in us. So then when we started this season in the fall, we went through. Obviously, you have new guys into the system. You're trying to teach people have new roles on the defensive end too. It's not just offense. And when you have those guys on the defensive end who are really bought into their new roles and buy into the concept of what P. Les and Mac and Huss and those guys are trying to implement, then you can really start to see your defense take that next step. Like before Christmas, we were okay, not very good. And then after Christmas, we really started to buy in on the defensive end, and we really just kind of kind of everybody was labeling us as scrappy. Like the media was always asking me about like, oh, Marcus is scrappy on the post. Like to do what Pulescu was putting in for us, you had to have those guys to do those little things and just be scrappy and tough and bring that energy on the defensive end. And when we really bought into that, I would say it was over Christmas break and going into conference play is when we were like, hey, because we knew how talented we were on the offensive end. And then it was just like, hey, we put this together on the defensive end, we could be really special. And I would say we started to listen to it and buy in at the end of last year when we were like, hey, this wins. Like when you watch film repeatedly and you see this stuff come up or blown assignments here or lack of effort here, then you can fix those things and allow them to not like be a bump in the road on the defensive end going down the stretch. So we really bought into that and we really figured it out after Christmas.
Marcus, do you remember why and when it started to click for you? I remember defense was something you spend a lot of time on after practice because, just chopping your feet and trying to get the footwork down. And I know you were hurt that year, but when did it start to click for you that this was a good system and that, you guys could all flourish to the level that your defense wouldn't kill you in games, that it could help you win some games?
Yeah. I'll be honest, I didn't play defense in high school, so I wasn't that familiar with it coming to college. And then, obviously, my attention to, knowing the scout, knowing how to guard people, I wasn't, there yet as a freshman, and then with the injury there, it didn't make it easier. But, once, like Mitch said, at the end of my first year, once we started to realize, if we play decent offensively and play good defensively, we can win anything. And if we play and then we knew if we played really well offensively, but not nearly to our standard for defensively, we could lose. So just knowing how to balance that and knowing that if we play really well defensively, we're putting ourselves in a great position to win because, we could have a bad offensive night and still score 80 points or still score 70 plus. So just knowing that in the back of our minds, if we lock up for these next, it was always, these next 5 minutes, let's not let them score. It wasn't, these next 5 minutes, let's score this amount of points. It was always, let's get 2 kills. Let's do this. So it was always a mindset of, I think our mindset kind of went from let's turn our defense into offense instead of let our offense control how we act and stuff like that. I thought we really let our defense kind of control how our mentality was. Just going throughout the game and in conference. I thought we really did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
A lot. No, I was just gonna say one last final thing. When we didn't make shots, we lost games. But this last year, when we didn't make shots, our defense was good enough to win games. So that was huge.
My favorite stat of the season is, when you think about the Butler home game, the DePaul home game, Georgetown home game, and then the Seton Hall one where you guys put the run on together. We'll talk about the Seton Hall one, isolate it in a minute. But there's a 38-minute stretch where you guys were at that unguardable level. And I think you guys outscored – when you put the runs together that you guys went on in those games, I think you guys outscored them by 94 points in 38 minutes, which is just – I don't think I'll see a basketball stat that blows me away as much as that one does. What did that feel like when you guys were just totally locked in, getting one stop after another? And I think it's funny because you watch I don't know if you guys have seen KG tell that story about MJ from his rookie year or whatever, and it just felt like he said he felt like he was on defense the whole time. That's how it looked for the opponent. It was like they're constantly one and done on offense, and they're constantly chasing down transition opportunities, trying to match up and getting dunked on and getting threes dropped on them. It was just a onslaught that was not in their control at all. And I wonder what that felt like for you guys when you guys would do that, when you would hit that level in games. What keyed it? What was the point where you were like, all right, here's an opportunity where we can kind of bury them right now?
Mark, you got it.
Honestly, once we went on those runs, we kind of had the mindset of we're supposed to play like this. We're that good right now. Like this is us. Let's. It was always let's keep moving forward. Let's keep growing. And never we never got complacent with with how good we played at certain times. You know, that was why it happened so consistently in those games, because you know we didn't let some success, you know, deter the next thing. And having that mentality was, you know, and as a group, you know, it was great to have, and that's why we were so successful.
Yeah, and just building off of that, like we really got to that next play mentality. Everybody always talks about it. Everybody always says, like, if you make a mistake or you're doing something good, always get to the next play. We didn't really possess that until, this second half of the year, this year, and we possessed that that next play mentality both when we weren't playing well and when we were playing well. But then when we were at home, we were playing at a high level and the crowd's going in, getting into it, and you see those guys like Dame and Denzel, like they have a huge smile on their face. Like we thrive off that. Like we thrive off each other's energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, like as much as I like hitting 35 footers or whatever, like I like Marcus getting downhill and having a jelly finish. Like that gets me going. So then when Marcus does things like that, or Ty's hitting tough shots, or Denzel's doing what he does, and all those dudes are just playing at a high level, that kind of makes you want to get into it and get like kind of join the party, join the fun. And when the crowd's going crazy and everybody's playing at a high level, then you're honestly just happy for your boys. And I think all of us had kind of the same approach. Like everybody wants to score the rock. Like when you play basketball, everyone wants to get buckets. But then when you find the beauty in other people scoring, then when you score, it's like you'd rather have other people score because it was fun. Like the crowd feeds off of it, different bodies scoring, and it's just the whole team's just into it and grinding, and everybody's locked in. So when we're at that level, like I said, playing loose earlier, it's unbeatable.
Yeah, it's fun.
I think the fans' favorite play is when Mitch shoots a 35-footer, though.
Yeah.
Anytime he lets one go, the crowd
Marcus,
goes like
Marcus, Casey sent me a video the other day. You remember we were playing Cal Poly and you threw it to me at the bird, and I shot it, and your body language is like, what? Like, what the heck?
Yeah, I remember that shot. And then you were like, "No, that's your fault." You were like, "That's your fault. You passed it to me when I was out there." I was like, well, "How was that?"
No, because Marcus and I, the whole year, we were always talking about, hey, if I'm leading you and you're trailing, just be ready to shoot it. So
yeah, I always told you, trail me. There were so many times, bro, when I would dribble up and the defense would see it coming. They're like, nah.
Yeah.
Like, bro, this year, bro, take it, bro.
Marcus got to the point. He's like, he would start to dribble to me and set up the flip back. But then sometimes he'd flip it back and two dudes would be on me. And I'm like, dang. But early in the year, he's like, yo, anytime I dribble over to you and flip it back, you shoot it. And I was like, bet. You got to tell me twice.
Really, bro.
Yeah. Marcus, I don't know if you know this, but Mitch hit more threes from 30-plus feet than the entire Big East this year. That's
I saw that stat. Did you tweet something about that?
Yeah.
I think I saw that tweet. I was like, unbelievable. Like, that's just a you stat.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Well, it's a you stat. You're the one who shoots from out there.
Bro, you had more opportunities to shoot more, bro. You just mad.
The thing is, Matt, run back that stat. I think I missed like my last 4 opportunities.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you didn't take like 5, bro.
I went cold late in the year. I was letting the fans down, man.
Dog, bro. There was times
the DePaul
one, like,
I never wanted one more than the DePaul one. I really wanted that one.
Yeah.
I just beat a dude off the glass. I was going crazy.
Yeah, bro. If you didn't block that thing, I was gonna shoot it, bro. In my head, I'm like,
you were waiting for me. And then when I finally, he flipped it back to me. That's the problem.
He did. He like dribbled. It was like a dribble handoff. It was like a dribble. It was like a DHO. It was like a DHO at 35 feet. It seriously was.
Yeah, it was like sorry, I'm KU guy, you know, but it was like Sharon Collins and Mario, that little flip back, you know.
I remember after you like, my bad. I was like, bro, we're up 40. Dude.
Yeah, you're like shoot.
Right for the Max.
Max started giving me crap for it too.
Dude, the arena would have exploded if you hit that. You didn't even miss it that bad either. It was just like a little long.
I know. I was like, it looked good. When I let it go, I was like, this could be crazy.
No, I think people would have been falling over themselves if that gone in. That was at the end of the huge run.
Yeah.
The arena couldn't have handled that, so I'm glad you missed it because it wouldn't have been safe.
Yeah, good. I'll save it for my senior year, you know.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, like let's go into the Seton Hall game a little bit because Actually, let's go with the Georgetown game. When you guys won that game, and then you're sitting around watching Seton Hall Villanova. What did you guys like? I don't know. What was that night for you guys like, knowing that, you probably felt a little disappointed after the St. John's game because you were still in control of your own destiny period at that point, but then you lost, so you were kind of needed help. When you beat Georgetown and then you saw that Villanova hung on and beat Seton Hall, and that Seton Hall was coming to Omaha on the last day, and you guys were going to decide it basically. What did you guys, I don't know, what was your mindset like after that Georgetown game, after seeing Villanova won? Did you feel like there was were you reinvigorated in a way that you felt like you guys, what you thought let slipped away, now you had an opportunity back and you guys got to play for a Big East title? Did you think about it at all? I don't know. Marcus, Mitch, anybody?
I didn't really let it get to me it's bigger than a game. I always try going into every game like it's the same, like it's the next opportunity, for us. But in the back of my mind, I had a lot of confidence going into Seton Hall because I knew we had a great chance to win. We were home. We beat them at their place, and Mitch didn't score that game, and we still won. If you would ask me that before the season, if we would win a game, regardless who we play, if Mitch doesn't score, are we gonna win? I don't know, and especially not at Seton Hall. So knowing that, and then I was just confident, and then just having the back of my mind, if we win, we're hanging a banner. So, I always like playing in big games. So I wasn't like worried or anything, nervous. I mean, obviously there's nerves there, but they're good nerves. And I was just really excited for the opportunity, and just knowing, it was going to be a crazy game, and one of the best games in history at Creighton. I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, obviously after the St. John's game, it was. I mean, we knew we let it slip. Obviously, we caught St. John's. I think they shot like 54 plus from the three, and our game plan was take away, and we were to play inside out. So at the end of the day, you live with it. And obviously, we could have been a little better. I was also terrible at that game. Marcus was terrible. So when we have those games, it's just like you just got to live with it. And when we lost like that, it was like, I don't know, we had a chance to do it. We didn't. I mean, obviously, you could have looked back at the Georgetown game. That was a loss. Villanova, that was a bad loss. Like, at Providence, like you don't just pinpoint it to one certain game. There's a lot of things that lead to it. And then after we won the Georgetown game at home, I remember we were watching that out in the little tunnel area or whatever on that little TV up there, and everybody was excited. I mean, everybody wanted Villanova to win. Obviously, I mean, in the back of your mind, you do too, because you want to. I mean, obviously, you want to have a chance to play for a conference title. You can't say you don't, because we're all competitors. We all want to win. But at the end of the day, it didn't really affect the way, like Marcus said, like our approach to any of the other games or any of the games coming up. Like, we just tried to stay in the moment. I mean, obviously soak it all in, because we knew, obviously, when Villanova won, we knew the Seton Hall game was going to be crazy. Crowd was going to be into it. We were going to be into it. It was going to be a heavyweight game. And like we talked about before the game, I'll let you talk about that later. But it was just an opportunity, like Marcus said, an opportunity for another opportunity to play the game. And obviously it ended up being our last game, so it was cool to go out on a win, essentially, in a halftime loss.
Yeah, so like before the game, Mitch comes up and grabs my recorder and starts to interview me, because he wants to know what the historical ramifications are of this game, basically, and if it's the biggest game ever. So I was trying to downplay it a little bit, because I don't like to let his head get too big. I was like, nah.
Yeah. I have a problem with that, though. I'm glad you downplayed me.
No problem. Yeah, I was like, nah, it's just like an exhibition game. You're good.
Scrimmage.
No, but like, when did you guys start to feed off the vibe of the crowd? Honestly, it felt like when Ty pinned Powell, when he pinned Miles, and then DJ punched on Mamu, like that. I don't think I've heard the crowd louder all season, and then it just sustained its level of energy the rest of the way. Did you feel like
that was
that sequence where Ty pinned Miles and DJ got the dunk in transition, like that kind of ignited the whole thing, and it never stopped from there?
Yeah, that was filthy. That was unbelievable.
I had the best angle too.
It was nasty. That was definitely one of the like a turning point in the first half, if you'd say. And then obviously the second half, and another Dame play. I'll let you guys pick that one out, but it was unbelievable. And then we feed off that. Honestly, like when we see Dame out there doing, like, Dame is Dame when he's doing stuff like that. You know, like sometimes, like, it's not bad. It's just who he is. Everybody has a different approach to the game. And everybody has a different way to stay in the moment and be great. You know, like everybody has a different approach, different focus level, and that's just him. When he's playing like that, like Dame's a dog. Like sometimes an open gym, like he'll voice his opinion and get going, and that just brings the competitiveness out of all of us. So when he did that, it was like it just triggered all of us, and Marcus did his thing, and everybody just played at a high level.
I like how Marcus is just sitting there, like, listening to Mitch talk about guys who talk on the court, and Marcus was talking like a crazy amount that game. I remember I was
leaving that for him to say.
I remember you came out at halftime and you guys were getting ready to inbound the ball for the second half. And I swear, I don't even know if you were doing this, but you were like just rapping. Do you remember what you were doing?
Yeah. Sometimes in games, I'll rap a song or something in my head.
I mean, you rapped the whole song. Like you were just like psychotically focused and like bobbing your head. Quincy McKnight's like 5 feet away and you're just rapping to him like.
No, it's to myself. That's one of the things Doc, really, he's like, yo, if you ever like want to be in the moment and not worry about, all the stuff's going on, just sing it, rap a song in your head and just focus on that. And then, how to, like, if you think too much of basketball, it's going to mess you up. Mm-hmm. And that's one of my things that I do sometimes. So I just try and just rap a song and chill. But yeah, that game was, I wouldn't say personal though, I just remember last year when I hurt my hand, Miles and all those guys were saying stuff like, "Oh, his hand broke, he's this and that," and they were talking the whole game. And then I think Jet told me this before the game. I think Miles Powell went at Jet and said, "I'm about to score 50 on you guys tonight." I think Jet told me that before the game. I just thought that was a little not cool. I don't want to call him out, but I just didn't like that. And
yeah, but I mean that's
like that like I just remember like that was just going through my head like throughout the game, like, oh, okay, like,
yeah. Well, I mean I think that's what's fun about basketball, that people maybe, I don't know, if you're like viewing it from the outside or watching it on TV and you see guys talking and John, some people don't like that, but it's like that's kind of what basketball does when you guys are all like flowing and playing the way you're supposed to be playing, and it's a high level game, you can't really help but talk to each other. Like it's part of like the game itself. It's not bad sportsmanship. It's just like there's a mental component to putting somebody on tilt, and talking trash is the way to do it. That's just.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a trash talk throughout the game. I remember one time when Miles got his second foul, and like me and a few other guys were like, "That's two." Like it's just like funny. It's like,
right.
Yeah. Like, I like playing basketball where it's like you're talking trash, but you're being funny about it.
Yeah,
like, I'm kind of like rah, this and that.
Yeah, and the good thing about basketball is like 99% of it is all like, it's all love. Like, right. Everybody respects everybody. Everybody has a different part of their game that they're better than someone else at. Like, everybody respects each other. So it's fun. Like, we even tell the refs, like, we're good. Like, obviously sometimes it escalates. Like, that's just human nature. That's just emotions. When emotions get the best, it happens. But at the end of the day, like, it's all love. Like,
yeah, right after it's all love. Like, when we dapped hands and we Seton Hall showed a lot of respect. We showed a lot of respect. It's just basketball, You just had to win, my fault.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that final run though, that final punch, because there's so many things that stand out from that run. Like, Seton Hall had just taken the lead after you guys had I think you guys were up 5, and then they put an 8-0 run on you and took the lead. And then Christian got the 3-point play. We put the 5 guard lineup back in the game for the last 9 minutes. And then, you seriously scored on 12 of 13 possessions. I think Ty missed the 3 at the top of the key long. That was the only shot you guys missed that whole time. Did you guys – was there anything that was said in the huddles, or, either between the players on the court, between you guys on the court, or, in the timeout with the coaches, that you felt like it was getting down to crunch time, and they were probably going to start to assert themselves a little bit. If basically whoever punched first here was going to be the team that kind of took the game over.
Honestly, we didn't say any of that in the huddle. We just kind of said keep doing what we're doing. But that last, like you said, 13 possessions was like it was kind of like your turn, my turn kind of thing. Like everybody was just feeding off one another. And I remember when I think Denzel hit a pull up, like way uncontested, like wide open 17-footer at the free throw line, basically.
Yeah, I remember that play.
I think he hit that pull up, and then I was like, all right, this might be over with. And then I remember Dame hit the 17-footer like a couple possessions later, or maybe before or after. I think it was after, because Denzel hit that pull up from 17, and I was like, all right, it's done. Like Dame's hitting pull ups, he's hitting pull ups. I'm making layups. Like, what is going on here? And it was like your turn, my turn, and then kind of just fed off one another, and the ball just found the hot guy and found the open shot. And that's the beauty of playing in the system that Coach Mack started. When you play in that system and you trust it, then everybody benefits from it.
Yeah, Marcus, you and Ty like made so many plays on both ends of the floor down the stretch, and it was like I think it was like three-pronged in a way, because you guys were making plays defensively, you were making plays on offense, and then both of you were like letting the plays kind of marinate a little bit, because if you would make a play, then you would make sure you turned to the crowd and like flex the jersey and make sure they got into it. Was there like a concerted effort on your part to raise the energy level after you guys would do something crazy? Like were you like, all right, we got to make sure this one carries some momentum, or were you just out there balling?
Yeah, honestly, we were just out there balling. We knew in the back of our head, like, the stakes of this game. We knew it was huge, not only for us, but the whole community. That's, I try and play with more emotion. Growing up, I never really played with emotion. And, in those big games, I like to play with emotion because it brings out the best of each other. And, Ty's always like that. I remember going to Ty. I think at one point in the game, Ty was struggling offensively right before, and I went to him. I was like, yo, you're playing great. You're playing great defense. Take us home, offense. And then he started playing really well. And I remember I pushed him. It was like by the Seton Hall bench, and the Seton Hall players got all mad. And then we all went over there and started clapping. So we knew that's when I knew. I was like, they aggravated. They like, they're mad right now. So, once, and then, you just play free. And, I just like games like that where you kind of make it bigger than, the team. It's just everyone's involved almost. So it was cool.
I've always told people, like, I have a screenshot of, because Ty had just hit that three over Mamu when he was ISO'd. And so he was in front of Seton Hall's bench. They call a timeout, and Marcus is like just shoving him and getting in his face in front of Seton Hall's bench. And they're trying to do their timeout huddle. So Miles just shoves Ty, like, get out of here kind of thing. And both Marcus and Ty, you guys turned around and like kind of went back, and Willard like got in the way. And I just screenshotted that. Like, I feel like that was my favorite shot of the game, because it encapsulated everything from the confidence you guys had. You weren't going to back down no matter what they did. And Mitch even said it in the huddle. I think there was a timeout in the huddle, Mitch, where you were like, look, they're not going to quit, so we got to keep going. Do you remember what you were talking about then? And remember what the point in the game where you felt like you guys were starting to get it going a little bit, but you felt like they weren't going to just lay down for you, that you had to sustain it?
Yeah, it was probably the 8-minute mark or something. I think I know what you mean, what you're talking about. We were in the huddle. I mean, when you're playing teams with elite scorers that can score in bunches and hit you with flurries quick, you kind of have to just recognize it and make sure everybody else is aware of the fact that, I mean, the game's not over yet. Like, especially, like, I just think about it, roles reversed. If we're down 9 in that same situation, I mean, we can cut the lead to 2 in 2 possessions, or 3 in 2 possessions. You know what I mean? Like, we score at a high level, and other teams are capable of doing the same thing. Like, we've experienced it before. And if you can just keep everybody level-headed and just locked in and not blow any assignments, then you can really stretch the lead and really take care of things both offensively and defensively. And we did a good job of just finishing the game and executing at a very high level. I mean, that was our execution in that last 13 possessions, both offensively and defensively, was the highest it's been all year. So, I mean, it was awesome. It was fun. But the thing that you were saying with Todd, when he hit that three at the top of the key, my favorite part was, I mean, he stopped playing. He looked to his left, looked at the crowd, stopped playing. Like, it was crazy. I was like, God, because stuff like that you don't notice during the games. But then I'm watching film and I'm like, this dude is crazy. But it's fun. It's fun when you see stuff like that because that's Todd. You know, like that's his emotion. Like he's playing at a high level. He just hit a big time shot. Like, reward him. You know, you have a right to celebrate. You know, it's justified. Like, enjoy it, man. Because at the end of the day, the game stops. So I like stuff like that.
What made that even more cold-blooded was I'm pretty sure Miles got him the possession before it, and he came right back and got Miles back, like, just to let him know. And then he just stopped, like, dead in the middle of the floor and was, like, just looking around like that's ball game, basically.
And the game is still going on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're running back. I don't know. Marcus, and I know this is probably a little bit bittersweet because you were hurt and you probably weren't sure what was going on. There was a little bit of, I imagine there was a little bit of fear in your mind because you weren't sure how serious the knee was. But like the celebration and everything, like it's a court storming, a banner's getting dropped. There's a Big East trophy running around that says you're regular season champs. Like there's like a party on the court. You guys are cutting nets down. What was that moment like for you guys? Like it wasn't the end of your season. In theory, you guys thought you probably had the most important games left, but in terms of your college basketball career, your basketball careers in general, like where does that thing rank in terms of the celebration and the moment and being able to kind of like carry Omaha, the community itself to that point and celebrate it with them on the court? Marcus.
Oh, I mean, that was easily the biggest game or, the craziest game I've ever played in, at any level, Obviously, me getting hurt at the end of the game, that was kind of like an emotional roller coaster. I went from so high to so low real quick. But I remember just sitting there because I couldn't really go out on the court right. I just wasn't able to. I was too, stiff. But I remember just like thinking like, wow, like this is, I wouldn't imagine that this scene, a year ago. I didn't think we would. Obviously, I always think we're gonna do big things, but just knowing that it's really here, it was amazing to see. Just how everyone was smiling, everyone was so happy. Just the whole stadium was crazy. So I was just really happy, and I feel like we really, deserved that moment. And I was just so happy for my guys. Just seeing how much work we put in since summer sessions, and knowing that it kind of paid off, in that game, and it was really cool to see.
Before I get to Mitch real quick on that, Marcus, like, we've talked, in the past about, you kind of being under the radar on the East Coast and not getting a lot of love from the Big East schools and whatnot. Like, to win a title like that and to do it in the way you guys did, and you and Michael both now have a Big East title in the family. Like, what did it mean to you to win that thing and to kind of like have a moment where you got to, I don't know, prove everyone who doubted you along the way wrong?
Yeah, I don't try and look at it as like an individual thing. Like I didn't, I don't care what people think. Like, I didn't really care in high school. Like, of course, I was like, why aren't like a lot of these schools recruiting me out in the East? Why is it in Providence recruiting me? Like, it's kind of weird, But then, I found a spot for me. Creighton was a spot for me. And, that doesn't matter now. So just knowing that, I traveled thousands of miles away for school, and knowing we won the championship, it was just a surreal feeling. And I just try and just think about the whole team and how much work we put in, because that's what it's about. And I was just so happy for everybody else.
You talk to Michael at all? Say I got one now too.
I actually didn't, but I remember he called me that night. He was so happy for me. Just I was, of course, I was, I wasn't really, we won it, and then I'm like, all right, what's next? Now I got to make sure I play in the Big East tournament. That's what I was worried about with my knee, and so he's just like, calm down. Whatever happens, happens. You can't control it, and it is what it is. You play, you guys won it. You can still look back and you had a great season. And, but I was, how I get. I was just so scared with my knee, and because I didn't know what it was. I really had no idea. And then, but my support system did a great job of just letting me know, just focus on the game. You guys just won a huge game. Just be happy about that, and then we'll figure out, what's next with Janine. Yeah.
And Mitch, like, that moment for you, celebrating with with like basically the whole city and team and everything. I know you probably were like thinking in the back of your mind, Big East tournament is still ahead of us, NCAA tournament run is still ahead of us, and those were important goals for you. But did you lose yourself in that moment a little bit at all? Did you allow yourself to appreciate that in real time instead of maybe flipping the page as quickly as you usually do?
Yeah. Honestly, I was thinking, like, after, Thursday, probably started Thursday, I was like, because there was word getting out about, hey, if we win this game, there's going to be a court storm. And at first I was like, I'm not a fan of court storms. I don't like it. I think we should win every game. I think I should have 3 Big East titles, honestly. If I had done some stuff right, I think I should be going for my 4th next year. Like, that's just kind of how I work, and I feel like I'm selling myself short a little bit. But I'd never want to feel like the underdog. I want to feel like I would win in every game. So I sat with Marcus on the bench for a little bit, and I was like, I'm not getting in it. But then, kind of like a light bulb or a light switch flipped, and it was like, you know what? Why not? I'm never going to get this opportunity until next year, but next year we'll be in that situation where we've seen it, we've done it before, But it was cool getting in. Like, I remember going into the rope, and you run into a bunch of your friends in the student body and seeing the joy and excitement on their face. They were honestly happier for the Big East title, and the people in the crowd were happier than I was. I just won another basketball game. I didn't think about winning the Big East. That didn't sink in at the time. It was just like how much fun everybody had, like how much joy was on people's faces. And I thought it was just unbelievable to experience that with them. And obviously when you get to cut down nets and do it with your guys, it's surreal. Like Marcus was saying, it's unbelievable when it actually happens when you start the whole season in June. So it was cool. It was cool to see that hard work pay off. But then at the end of the day, it's like, all right, we've done that. Now let's make something happen afterwards, and let's do it again next year. Now we're at this standard to where, hey, we've done it before. We know what it takes to do that. Let's continue it, and we have the bodies to do that. So at that point, when I got under the rope, I was just enjoying it, just like all the other college students and fans were. So it was cool.
Nice. So Marcus, I know, the season was kind of taken from you guys in segments. Like Marcus, I think, in New York, when you got to New York, you knew that you weren't going to play in the Big East tournament, NCAA tournament. And then Mitch, obviously, you saw all the cancellations come, kind of as a domino effect after that. Like, when you're thinking about what is still left ahead, like, are you embracing that unfinished business thing at this point yet, or are you just trying to appreciate the season still? Like, at what point have you flipped the page to motivate yourself for what you still want to accomplish in terms of maybe winning a Big East tournament or making a deep run in the NCAA tournament? Like, when does all that stuff start to kick in for you guys? Marcus, I don't know if you want to start since yours got taken away first.
Yeah, I feel like, once you win, those type of games, you gotta enjoy it, in the moment, sleep on it, and then honestly, the next day, I'm like, it's kind of like an unfinished business type of mentality. Like, since everything got canceled, since I got injured, I think that was just the start of something that we can do, together. And going into next season, I just want to have that mentality of like, we had some success, like we should, but now it's time to really kind of grow on that and go even further with it. But at the same time, have a mentality of like, let's keep working, let's take it step by step. But in the back of your head, you got to think of, let's get back there and let's go even further, and just keep going. And I feel like that's the mentality of this group, and that's why we had like a lot of success this year, because we never let if you look at our season, in all of our big losses, St. Georgetown, St. John's, we always bounce back after those games. It's because, we don't, in those games, we kind of let success get to us, and, we just do some dirt on it. That's what Coach Les would always say to me. And so just having that idea of like, we had some success, but, we're capable of a lot more, and having that mentality is only going to help us.
Mitch?
What was the initial question again?
I guess, yeah, whenever it's just like watching TV or something. When you're like,
Mark's great answer to
he did get a good, he always gives great answers. I think when
so
you're like,
when
everything got canceled, like when did you flip the page to think like, there's still more to do here? When did you start thinking about that as opposed to when you stopped thinking about what you accomplished?
I stopped thinking about what we accomplished probably when I got back home from New York, and I was sitting on my couch, and like, honestly, it's like it's done. Like it's done with. It's over with. So I was at home for about a week, just letting it sink in. Kind of trying to realize like what happened, what we did, and then probably about a month ago, 3 weeks to a month ago, I just flipped the page, and I'm like, hey, let's figure it out. Like, I got a lot of things to do personally, like with my body and everything, just to kind of get to that next level that I want to get to personally. And if I can get to that and everybody else takes that same approach, then, we can reach new, even higher levels as a unit. So, that's why I'm back in Omaha. I'm back in Omaha working out so I can kind of get ready and build my strength and be better for next year. So that was kind of my approach, and that's kind of how I see it, because at the end of the day, I have one year left. And I know people always say, like, you're going out with it, but honestly, I want to go out strong. I want to go out at my best. I want to go out when my body's in tip-top shape and figure it out. But obviously, with all that being said, Lord willing, because, you never know what's going to happen. Mark has been through it. Guys have been through it. But I just kind of want to prevent that and hopefully grow as a hooper. So about a month ago, in a roundabout way, to answer your question.
Nice. I think it's different because you guys went to last year, being doubted, and you could use that as motivation, I guess, as being under the radar, kind of coming up and not being expected to do much. Like next year, it just seems like a lot of people are already, throwing you into national championship conversations, like Final Four conversations, like Big East contender conversations. Like, what are you going to do to motivate yourselves when you're not chasing respect, when you already have respect? And that's when complacency falls in. Like, how do you get that? How do you keep that out of your gym, I guess?
Yeah, I'll go first, Mark.
Yes.
Honestly, you keep it out by, I think obviously we were picked like 7th in the Big East this year or something. And we knew we were better than 7th. We knew we had the people to achieve the things that we wanted to achieve. And when you look at it from that approach and that perspective, whether you're at the top or the bottom, like college basketball, it's a gauntlet. Like, people are out here going for, obviously everybody wants to win. And that's kind of what we're not looking for respect around the Big East. We're not looking for respect around the nation. We're just looking for W's, man. And usually when W's happen, you get that respect. And when you look at what we did, we came from, we were a 7th seed in the Big East, and we ended up winning the conference. We were 7th in the country. When you look at that, you understand that people are in our same situation next year. And if you don't take care of business day in and day out and just rack up those W's, then people are going to take your spot. And not necessarily complacency. It's just like with missing and making shots. You can never make enough shots. Like, you can never make more shots than you, like, oh, I hit 10 shots this game. That was more than I wanted. Like, it's not how it works. Once you get a feeling and a taste of the top, you want to stay at the top, and you want to get to the top nationally. And I don't think that approach changes. I think it changes in a more attentive and more focused way, if that makes any sense.
Sure. Marcus,
honestly, we're more locked in to get some more W's on a national scale.
Yeah, piggybacking off what Mitch said, our approach is, we're just worried about trying to get wins. We don't care what the outside noise says, we've been on both ends of the spectrum now. People predict us to be 7th in the Big East. It doesn't mean anything if say we're predicted to be first next year. That doesn't mean we're going to finish first. We could finish 7th. So, just having the attitude of, the outside noise, nobody knows the future. Nobody knows how good we are until we actually play. And, we don't know how good we'll be next year, but, we can have a mentality of, let's just get better each and every day and put ourselves in position to be successful. And that's, just control on just basically have a mentality of control what you can control. And I feel like, we have that. We have guys with experience. We have guys that don't get too high and also don't get too low. So just having all that together, it'll breed success. And, all we got to do is put in the work and, have fun, play with each other, and, the rest will take care of itself. And, I felt like that's what we did, and that's why we were so successful down the stretch of this past season.
Gotcha. Well, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate the time. It was good to see you.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad you guys are doing well. All the best to you guys.
Matthew.
All the best to you guys, you and your families and everything. Thanks for hopping on, and hopefully this world gets kicked into gear pretty soon. And we'll get
all the best to you, your family, your dogs, man. Keep holding it down.
Yep. Appreciate it, Matt.
See you guys. Thanks a lot.
I'll let you know what.
Thanks, Rob.
This thing tonight, this MJ thing. I'll see if he's better than LeBron.
You'll know in segments. I'm just waiting to see how long it takes you to convince you, because we'll find out here.
Yeah.
Mitch already knows.
All right, Rob.
Mitch already knows.
I'm out, yo.
All right, see you guys.